Hi everyone. I'm E from Susan's family. Today, I'll teach you how to make the tulip pillow from the flower pillow. This pillow is divided into the stem, leaves, flower center, and petals. First, crochet the stem. Then, crochet the leaves. Next, crochet the flower center and petals. Finally, sew them together. First, let's learn how to make the stem. Use the magic ring method to start. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Before we begin, let's take a look at the chart. In the chart, our plus number represents the round number. The stitches instruction column shows the stitches needed for crocheting this particular round, and any increasing or decreasing required. The stitch count column indicates the total number of stitches. After completing all the stitches in this round, the stitches used for the stem include X single crochet, VSC 2-in-1, chain, and slip stitch. Now, please watch as I demonstrate the specific crocheting method. To make it easier for everyone to see clearly, I will use different yarn for this demonstration. For specific yarn, color schemes, and hook sizes, please refer to the detail page and the paper chart of our product. Start with an adjustable magic ring. Then crochet R1. R1 is 8x. The number before the X indicates how many stitches you should make. Here it means to work that many single crochets. This means you will crochet 8 single crochets into the magic ring. First, make 1 chain as the beginning chain for the single crochet. This beginning chain is not marked in the chart, but when crocheting in rounds, at the beginning of each round, you need to make a beginning chain. The beginning chain for single crochet does not count as a stitch. Slightly tighten it. Then start crocheting the single crochets. Be mindful not to crochet R1 too tightly. After completing the round, place a stitch marker on the first stitch. If you don't have a stitch marker, you can use a paperclip or safety pin as an alternative. Now let's take a look at the edge stitch. After completing the first single crochet with the original yarn, there will be small seams like these. Below a small seam, feel with your hands, there will be a small hole. This is the first stitch. Place a stitch marker on this hole to mark it. Here's something that needs mentioning. Because the yarn is special, your hands might get tired while crocheting. When your hands get tired, you can change the way you hold the hook to relieve the strain. I'll show you 2 ways to hold the hook. The first one is like holding a pen, as you see now. The second one is like this. Place your hand above the hook and gently grasp the hook. Then continue working single crochets. After completing the last single crochet, place a mark on the stitch. After that, close the magic ring and tighten the yarn tail slightly. The magic ring is now closed. Then slip stitch into the first single crochet of this round. That is, work into the stitch marked by the first stitch marker. The slip stitch is completed. This is the chain formed by the slip stitch. It doesn't count as one stitch. Slightly tighten it. The slip stitch is not indicated in the chart. In practice, when crocheting in rounds, always finish by joining with a slip stitch and slightly tighten. That's how you complete R1. Now check the stitch count. One braid represents one stitch. Start counting from the stitch marker. Count all the way to the second stitch marker. There are a total of 8 single crochet stitches in this round. Next, let's take a look at what R1 looks like when worked with the original yarn. You can also count the bumps on the surface when checking the stitch count. Start counting from the first stitch marker. One bump represents one stitch. Count all the way to the second stitch marker. There are a total of 8 bumps here. This means you have worked 8 stitches. That's the method for counting stitches. Move on to R2. R2 is 8V. The number before the V indicates how many SC2 in 1 to work. Here it means to work 8 SC2 in 1 continuously. Make one chain as your beginning chain. Let me emphasize this again. You need to work a beginning chain at the start of each round. I won't repeat this in the following steps. Work 1 SC2 in 1 in the first stitch of the previous round. That is, the insertion point of the slip stitch. Work 2 single crochets in this spot. Place a marker on the first stitch. As you crochet, place the starting tail above the hook. Weave it in as you go. Insert again into the same stitch and work 1 single crochet. This completes the SC2 in 1. Continue with the SC2 in 1 in the next stitch on the left. The second SC2 in 1 is now completed for the rest of this round. Work a SC2 in 1 in each stitch from the previous round. Keep crocheting the remaining SC2 in 1. Place a stitch marker on the last stitch. After completing, check the number of stitches. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Be sure to pay attention. At the end of each round, you must join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. This completes R2. Note that the excess starting yarn tail doesn't need to be cut yet. Leave it as is for now. We will consider the side without the yarn tail as the right side of the entire piece. All subsequent rounds will be worked on the right side. Next, we will work on R3. R3 is XV times 8. Parentheses indicate a group of stitches to be repeated as a sequence. X number indicates the number of times to repeat the pattern. Start with 1 single crochet. Then 1 SC2 in 1. That completes one group, XV. This round needs to be repeated 8 times in total. Work another group. The second group is now completed. There are 6 more groups to go. Everyone follow the previous demonstration and finish crocheting. After completing the last stitch, check the stitch count. Then join with a slip stitch on the first stitch. That completes our 3. When counting rounds, you can count the raised textures. 1, 2, 3. Now we have completed 3 rounds in total. This is the method for counting rounds. Now let's take a look at how it appears after completing 3 rounds with the original yarn. There are these circular raised textures on the surface. When counting rounds, simply count these raised textures. For the remaining rounds, just follow the chart and crochet the corresponding stitches. Here, I would like to clarify something. In the chart, R4R21. Even 2-4x means starting from the 4th round. Correspondingly work 1 single crochet for each stitch of the previous round. Every round has 24 stitches. Continue crocheting until the end of R21. Pay attention while crocheting. Don't forget to work the beginning chain and slip stitch. Place a stitch marker on the first and last stitch of each round to mark them. This prevents adding extra stitches or missing any. If you can easily find the insertion points for the first and last stitches, you can also choose not to use stitch markers. After completing, remember to check the number of stitches. Crocheting evenly will cause the piece to naturally curl. Adjust the piece so that the right side faces out. Continue below according to the method learned earlier. Refer to the chart and complete these rounds. After finishing the last stitch, slip stitch into the first stitch. Then crochet 1 chain to secure. Leave a 50 cm yarn tail, then cut the yarn. After completing, stuff with an appropriate amount of filling. You can first fluff up the filling cotton before stuffing it in. Make sure the stuffing is even and firm. It doesn't need to be too hard. This completes the stem. Next, let's learn how to make the leaves. There are 2 pieces total. Start with a chain. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Some styles require adding shaping wire. Other styles don't require adding shaping wire. The new stitch are used: T half double crochet, F double crochet, E treble crochet, W, S, C 3 in 1. Below, please watch me demonstrate the specific crocheting method. The foundation chain is 10ch. This indicates that it start with a foundation chain. Chain 10. Below, let's start with a foundation chain. Take the corresponding yarn. Then make a slip knot. The slip knot doesn't count as 1 stitch. Gently tighten it. Then start crocheting the chains. Pay attention that the foundation chain shouldn't be too tight. Here, you need to crochet 10 chains in total. Continue crocheting. After completing, check the number of chains. 1 braid represents 1 stitch. The loop on the hook doesn't count in the stitch count. That's how you complete the foundation chain. Next, crochet R1. Dow 2 means to start crocheting from the 2nd stitch from your hook, which is the 2nd stitch on the left side of the marker. Pick the back bump of the braid. That is, this one horizontal bar. Crochet 1 single crochet. Make a mark on the first stitch. Then pick the back bump of the adjacent chain, and crochet 1/2 double crochet. Crochet 1 double crochet on the left side. Then crochet 1 treble crochet, yarn over twice. Insert. Draw the yarn through. Now there are 4 loops on the hook. Then yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops 3 times. One treble crochet is complete. Then crochet another treble crochet in the left back bump. I'll demonstrate it again. Yarn over twice. Insert. Draw through. Then yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops 3 times. Another treble crochet is done. Then crochet another treble crochet in the left back bump. After finishing, pick the back bumps one by one and crochet 1 double crochet. And 1/2 double crochet. Then crochet SC3 in 1. That is, crochet 3 single crochets in the same position. That completes the SC3 in 1. Then rotate the piece. Pick up the braid of the left chain. That is, crochet 1/2 double crochet, with the remaining 2 strands of the foundation chain. Be mindful not to crochet into the hole from the SC3 in 1. The yarn tail can be hidden as you go. Then refer to the chart and pick up the chain's braid to crochet the corresponding stitches. At the end, in the insertion point of the first stitch, crochet 1 SC2 in 1. Finally, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Slightly tighten. This completes our 1. Now move on to our 2. Start with 1 chain as the beginning chain. Then take out the shaping wire. Find both ends of the shaping wire, and join them together. Reserve about 5 centimeters and place it on the piece. Wrap it and crochet together. Here, a single shaping wire is used for demonstration in the sample. The single shaping wire in the tutorial represents 2 actual wires. Note that some styles do not require shaping wire. Simply crochet by referring to the chart. Start with 1 single crochet. Then make 1 SC2 in 1 on the left side. Pay attention, for this round you need to wrap the shaping wire and crochet together. This completes one group. Continue crocheting 3 more groups. After completing, make 1 single crochet. Below, the chart shows square brackets. The square brackets indicate crocheting in the same position. Start with 1 single crochet. Then make 1 chain. Dowel 1 means you begin crocheting from the last stitch. Pick up the back bump and make 1 slip stitch. Not to pull too tight. After completing, make 1 single crochet in the insertion point of the single crochet. This completes the content within the square brackets. Continue crocheting by following the chart for the rest. Pay attention to wrapping the shaping wire. At the end, join with a slip stitch on the first stitch. Leave a 30 cm yarn tail before cutting the yarn. Leave 5 cm of the shaping wire before cutting it off. This completes 1 leaf. Complete the remaining leaves in the same way. Next, we will learn how to crochet the flower center. Start with a magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The method is similar to that of the stem, just the number of stitches and rounds are different. A new stitch is used for the flower center. SC2 tog. Everyone first follows the chart to crochet up to R15. This is what the sample looks like after completing R15. Now move on to R16. Start with a beginning chain, then crochet 9 single crochets. After finishing, crochet 1 SC2 tog. In the next stitch on the left, start with an incomplete single crochet, insert. Draw the yarn through. The incomplete single crochet is done. Next, work 1 more incomplete single crochet in the adjacent stitch. Finally, yarn over and draw through all loops. 1 SC2 tog is completed. That finishes 1 group. Now work another group. Start with 9 single crochets. Then make 1 SC2 tog. Let me demonstrate it again. Work 1 incomplete single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches on the left side. Finally, yarn over and draw through all loops once. That completes another SC2 tog. The second group is now done. Follow the same method for the second group, as demonstrated for the remaining part. Refer to the chart to crochet accordingly. end with a slip stitch in the first stitch. This completes our 1/6. Follow the chart for the remaining rounds. For the last few rounds, you can stuff the filling cotton while crocheting. Always check the stitch count after completing each round. This is to prevent missing or adding extra stitches. After completing the final round, you also need to close the opening. I'll demonstrate with a sample swatch. Stretch the loop, leave a 15 cm tail and break the yarn. Pull out the yarn tail. Thread it through a needle. Then pass it through the front loops of the last round stitches. That is, the strand closest to you. Once done, pull tight to secure. Press flat. Finally, hide the yarn tail inside the piece. That completes the flower center. Next, let's learn how to make the petals. There are 3 in total. Use a foundation chain to start. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. It involves new stitches, TVHDC 2-in-1 and FVDC 2-in-1. Below, please watch as I demonstrate the specific crochet method. Start with a chain. Don't make the foundation chain too tight. Then, begin from the second to last chain's back ridge. Work 1 SC 2-in-1. And 2 single crochets. Work 4 single crochets into the first chain's back ridge. This completes the content in the brackets. Next, pick up the braid of the chain and work 2 single crochets. Be mindful not to crochet into the hole of the 4 single crochets on the right. You can weave in the yarn tail as you go. After completion, work 1 SC 2-in-1. Finish with a slip stitch. Our one is now complete. You can trim the excess starting yarn tail. For the following are 2 through R8. Continue to refer to the chart. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise with the corresponding stitches. After finishing each round, remember to check the number of stitches. Once you've completed these rounds, this is what the sample looks like after finishing our 8. When counting rounds, count upwards starting from the horizontal line, at the base of the beginning chain. Count the raised textures as your guide for each round. Now let's move on to our 9. First, refer to the chart, and crochet up to the point before the HDC 2 in 1. The sample has reached the corresponding position. Work 1 HDC 2 in 1. That means working 2 half double crochets into the same stitch. This completes the HDC 2 in 1. Continue crocheting while following the chart. Keep crocheting until right before the DC 2 in 1. Work 1 DC 2 in 1. That means working 2 double crochets into the same stitch. This completes the DC 2 in 1. For the rest, continue crocheting while referring to the chart. Finish with a slip stitch at the end. This completes our 9. For the remaining round, just follow the chart to complete it. At the end, leave a 50 cm tail and fasten off the yarn. This completes one petal. Complete the remaining petals using the same method. Next, we will sew them together. Start by sewing the petals onto the flower center. Then sew the petals onto the stem. Finally, sew on the leaves. Please watch as I demonstrate the specific sewing technique. Start by sewing the petals. Cut a segment of any color yarn about 1 meter long. Then take the flower center and the petals. Place the flower center with the magic ring facing up, with the right side of the petal facing out. Wrap it around the flower center. Be mindful that the tip of the petal should be slightly higher than the magic ring of the flower center. The left side of each petal will be pressed underneath. Then secure the position of the petals by threading the yarn through the middle. Make a loose knot. Then adjust the shape of the petals. Next, thread the reserved yarn tail into a needle. Sew and secure the bottom of the petal to the bottom of the flower center with a few stitches. Also sew and secure the middle position of the petal with a few stitches. Sew a few stitches at the boundary between each petal as well. Everyone can sew according to this method. After sewing, tie the yarn tails into a knot. Trim any excess yarn tails. Finally, remove the yarn in the middle. The flower center and petals are now sewn together. Next, sew the petals onto the stem. Match the bottom of the petals with the opening of the stem. Then pick up the last round of stitches on the stem. Sew it at the corresponding position of the petals. Adjust the position while sewing. When there are a few stitches left, stuff in an appropriate amount of filling cotton. Continue sewing. Tie off at the end. Hide the tails and cut the yarn. Finally, sew on the leaves, with the right side facing out, and the slip stitch marks on the stem facing back. Sew the leaf onto the right side of the stem, between R10 and R12 from the foundation chain upwards. Insert the shaping wire into the stem. Then thread the reserved tail of the leaf through the needle. And sew a few stitches. Tie a knot at the back in the end. And hide the tail. There is another leaf to sew on the left side of the stem, in a symmetrical or slightly lower position. You can also sew it according to your own preference. That concludes the explanation of how to sew the leaves. Up to this point, the making of this pillow has been fully explained. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website, Susan's Family. Support your handwork experience. Enjoy the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.